Hello, everyone. I'm Dees Hinton with Central Mississippi Real Producers, and we are here today in Party Photography Studio to do our next edition of our Central Mississippi Real Producer podcast. And we love doing these podcasts at Central Mississippi Real Producers. What we do is identify the top agents in our area, and then we have several different ways to tell their story and share their successes with others, and that's what we do at Real Producers. And podcasts are this is Gingellin, what number? Probably 21 or something like that, I guess. But we do this with the top real estate agents in our area and with our industry partners as well. So we've done several of our industry partners. But we love telling their stories and talking to them and finding out what they're all about.
That's right.
And today got with me Gingellin Wallace, who is the Creative Marketing Director for Central Mississippi Real Producer. And we have also joining us the Queen the Queen of Real Producers, Victoria Prowant, with Southern.
Not quite the Queen, but I will take whatever title you're willing to give me.
We happen to have a throne available for the Queen to do our podcast.
She's being a really
today.
good sport and sitting in the
So
throne.
yes, we have the Queen Victoria Prowant with Southern Homes Real Estate, and welcome, Victoria. It's a pleasure
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
to have you on today. And
If you didn't know why Dees is referring to her as the Queen, not only is she a very successful real estate agent, but she was the very first cover of our Central Mississippi Real Producers magazine. How many years ago?
5 years ago.
5 years
she
ago.
was the
Our
July.
very first
Wow.
cover, so
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have the title.
I have the title and a few more wrinkles that comes with it.
Just
so.
a few, just a few.
We have done 61 months of publication since we did yours, so it's
Wow.
been a while, and this is a great time to kind of catch back up with you. And you've had some changes going on in the last 5 years that
We have had
we'll
some
talk
changes.
about.
That's right.
So, Gingellin, I'll just kick it over to you, and
Yeah.
you can get us started with questions.
And we were just saying that we're doing something kind of new this semester. I'm going to call it, this season of Real Producers. And we're always trying to look for new ways to bring you content that's interesting and relevant. And so what we're doing is we're doing a look back to those who were in the magazine in the very beginning and looking back at their story and where they were then and where they are now. And so we're having some fun with that. You're going to see podcasts with those agents, and you're also going to see articles in the magazine. In fact, Victoria has done our very first looking back article, and it is coming out in this one that's
Yep,
about
in
to
a
come
few
out
days.
in just a few
In a few
days. So
days.
you're going to see that very soon.
Yep.
You may see it before you get to see this podcast. So anyway, that's kind of fun. So that's what we're doing here today is we are looking back on our very first cover agent and where she was then and where she is now, and kind of catching up on what all has happened in the last 5 years. So welcome.
Thank you guys again for having me. It's always a pleasure to be in the same room with like-minded people like the two of you, very successful, different industries, but we all complement each other very well, and we have worked together very well over the years.
That's
and
right.
so
Yeah, absolutely.
it's an honor to be here. In 2019, when we first started, I was, speaking of the changes, I was at another brokerage. In a different role. I was a managing broker of approximately 40 agents at the time, and since then, fast forward, changes are always for the best, in my opinion, but I did open my own brokerage with my husband, and we have 26 amazing agents that work for us, and it's been a great change. Looking back, best decision ever as far as real
Southern
estate goes.
Homes Real Estate.
Southern Homes Real Estate. Yeah.
And your husband have a name?
Oh, Austin. Yeah,
Just read the article. It's all in there.
he's just known as Victoria's husband.
Yeah,
right.
that's
That's
true.
what we
That is
refer to
true.
him as.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Austin, my husband, is my business partner in business and crime and family at home and
That's
and
right.
everything that
All the
comes
things.
with marriage and everything else.
That's
So.
right. That's
Right.
right. Well, we're so excited to kind of look back and talk about your, career. There are definitely going to be a few people who haven't seen this article, so we'd love to just go back, if you don't mind, and kind of just tell your story, who you are, where you came from, because y'all know she ain't from Mississippi. And we love to hear her talk and her beautiful accent. So just kind of go back and tell your story and highlights, because some people may not know.
Okay, so I am originally from Eastern Europe, and a small country called Moldova. Not too many people around here heard about Moldova, but it has become more popular now since the Ukraine war. We are located between Ukraine and Romania, so those are the two countries that border Moldova. I came when I was 19, no English, no money. I had $100 and a backpack, and that's all I had.
That's right.
Because the airline lost my luggage.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, so when I say I came with nothing, I really did. All I had was a backpack.
Oh, wow.
And
Did they ever find it?
they did not find it.
I do not remember this part of your
They gave
story.
me a check for about $300
Oh, my
for
goodness.
my belongings. And
Wow.
it was the biggest check and the most amount of money I've ever seen at that time. So
Wow.
I was excited. I was glad that Delta lost my luggage, because
That is so funny.
$300 at that time for me was so much
A
money.
big deal,
So,
yeah. That's
Now,
kind of
did you-
exciting.
big deal. So that's where I came from.
You came over as an exchange
As
student?
an exchange student, I
Okay.
worked at Wendy's for several months, learned some English, and then I got another job at McDonald's, and I worked for a few more months at McDonald's.
I love it.
And then I decided to go interview for IHOP because I needed
The
another
famous
job.
IHOP. That's right.
That's right, and that's where I met my husband. But I never told you the story how I got the job at IHOP.
Oh, no, I don't think
had
I've
a
heard
couple
that
of
one.
my friends that were already working there, and I was not sure what to do because I was getting tired of McDonald's, and I was feeling like I need to step it up. What's next? I'm not going to be stuck at McDonald's for much longer, and. My friends were like, well, we work at IHOP. It's great. My manager said they have openings. Just come talk to them. And so I went for the interview, and he asked me a few questions, and then towards the end he said, well, what position are you interviewing for? And so I said, management position. I don't even know how I came up with that, but the next day he called me and he said, you got the job. So I was very excited.
I love it.
Little did I know the management position that I got was the one that no other manager could stick around long enough, because it was the graveyard shift.
Oh,
Yes,
that's right.
From 6 p.m. until 6 a.m. So we were dealing with the drunk crowd, the 9 crowd.
That's the
all
best
the
time to go to
wild
IHOP.
ones, but
That's
they
where you
did
go
not
after you go out.
intimidate me. And so I was there for a couple of years. I pushed through that. And honestly, I had already gotten married, was pregnant, and Austin was like, okay, time to quit. You're not going to have this baby at IHOP. And I stuck it out until I was about 7 months pregnant.
Oh,
And
my
so,
goodness.
Yeah, I did the graveyard shift, 12 hours straight without
Okay,
a break.
pause. So how long ago was this? When you first came over as an
19.
exchange student, how long ago are we talking?
So that was in 2006.
Okay.
I came in Metairie,
Okay, I feel her out.
Louisiana. It was a year after Katrina, so we actually got to see a lot of the damage and the ruins that were caused by the hurricane.
Wow, okay.
So it was very, sad
Sure.
to see what those people went through, but also very inspiring to see how they decide not to leave.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so just, incredible to me that, something like 18 years ago, you came over here, didn't know a word of English, not one, and listen to her now. I mean, she has a beautiful accent, but
She
very
learned
fluent.
one. She learned one. Management.
She had that one down. started off so humble. I mean, it's just incredible to me, and I have heard the story before, of course, many times. But it's fascinating to see where you got to, and just your strength of character to push forward. And I mean, if you don't know, her name is at the top of that top list of 300 Central Mississippi agents every
year
in the first two, and it has been as long as I've known her. Yeah. And so that's just incredible to me that you came from such a humble start, and you're not ashamed of it either. She's like, yes, I worked at McDonald's.
Not at all.
I love it. Okay, so tell us just real quickly how you met Austin at IHOP.
Yes. So I was working at IHOP. And he was working at Mercedes right down the road. So single guy, every day he was getting off work at 7, and he would come by IHOP to eat dinner and go home. And so because there has been a few others that would inquire about the shift manager, I had made it clear to all the servers, the cooks, if anybody asks, let them know I'm engaged.
Oh.
And so he had the same server that would always wait on him, and he asked, hey, what about that manager you got? And Jim was the gentleman's name that was like, oh, no, she's taken. She's engaged. It's serious. And so he stopped coming. But later, Jim told me that, oh, just letting you know, I know you're not interested, but my client over there did ask about you, and I was like, what? Because I had made some small talk with him in the passing, just like you would with all the regular clients.
Right.
And so anyways, we just left it at that. But earlier on, when I did make some small talk with Austin, and he introduced himself, told me what he does for a living, and he did say that, if you ever need a new car, I'll give you a good deal. You just come see me at Mercedes. And so fast forward about 8 months later, my car breaks down. And at that time, I was driving a Dodge Intrepid, a very old one. I was very proud of it, too.
Right.
I paid for it myself. It was my first car. I got it at age 22. And it was $1,500 that I paid cash for it.
Oh, my gosh.
So it was amazing. But later on, it broke down. So I was like, oh, I don't know anybody in the car business. I guess I'll go see that guy at Mercedes.
That's right.
Get me a Mercedes.
Yeah, they're pretty close in price.
Yeah.
I guess. So I did go to the dealership, and one of the sales managers, greets me and, can I help you? And Austin saw me from across the showroom, and he's like coming in slow motion, and he's like, hey, I got this. I got it. So he sat with me and, went over the application and, what's your phone number? Because we need to put that on the application.
That's
right. And he's like, so what car do you want to buy? And I said, I came here, so I guess I'll buy a Mercedes. And he's like, well, I have an affordable Mazda right there on the lot. You should definitely test drive it. It's a very reliable car. And I said, no, I didn't come to the Mercedes dealership to leave with a Mazda. I want a Mercedes. And he's like, okay, well, let's go through your application. And so he knows I work at IHOP. Right. I was making, I think, $28,000 a year. I still have my pay stubs from back then. I have a folder, going down the memory lane.
Yeah.
And so he pulls my application, and he's like, but you don't have any credit. And I said, no, I don't. And he goes
like, what do I need that for?
How are you going to buy this car? And I said, will you co-sign for me?
Oh, my goodness.
And he did not see that coming. He was like, oh, no, ma'am, I don't co-sign even for my family members. So, but I can tell you, if you go to the Magnolia Credit Union down the road, those ladies can probably help you. If anything, just tell you how to build up some quick credit, and then you can come back and see me in a few months. Well, the credit union was right down the street from IHOP. Well, those ladies were coming there to eat all the time. So, of course, when they saw me, they were like, well, hey.
Right.
So, long story short, somehow we pulled some strings. they got me pre-qualified to buy the Mercedes. I went back and walked with, drove away in a Mercedes. So yeah, I still.
She doesn't take no for an answer.
I don't take no for an answer, and that's been part of the success.
I love it. I love it. Well, I think that's really a fun story to look back on. Y'all now being so successful, owning a brokerage, and everybody that knows you know y'all are so quick to help anybody who is starting out or trying to make their way, because you know what it's like to be there. So I love that about y'all. Okay, so that was your beginnings. Okay, so let's fast forward. You've got a couple of kids, and you decide you want to get into real estate.
Well, I never saw real estate as a career for me. Before I even quit IHOP, I decided to go to college. So I went to Mississippi College. It was actually, at the time, they were in the building where my office is now.
Oh.
And so I just going to work back and forth. All I would see was Mississippi College, the only college I've ever heard of. Didn't know if it was public, private, didn't know anything. But I just went and knocked on doors. I was pregnant with Ariana at the time. And the lady that was there, she said, well, yeah, we'll take you. We just need your transcripts. So a couple of days later, I had my transcripts and my credits from the college that I was attending back home, which I was already pursuing a degree in stock exchange. So they picked it up here, and I got my undergrad degree from Mississippi College, and took all the hours I could in a semester. Whatever they'll allow, I will load them up, and I'll get it done, because I just wanted to go through it quickly and not drag it too long. Graduated in a couple of years after I enrolled, and I was like, what's next? Well, no job opportunity or anything. I guess I'll go for the master's degree. So I just kept on at Mississippi College, got my MBA from there as well. And when I graduated that, I always thought working in the banking industry was so admirable, and it was just so fulfilling.
Right.
So as a kid, that's what I wanted to do growing up. And so I went and applied to be a teller at a couple of banks in the area, and the Bank Plus of Spillway, the two-story building, called me for an interview, and they thought there's going to be a language barrier with me working the drive-through.
Nobody would hire her with her accent.
Well, that's where I bank.
And I did not get the teller interview.
They totally messed up. People would have been lined up just to hear her talk.
Yeah.
So later I was kind of heartbroken, because I thought, gosh, I have a undergrad from Mississippi College, MBA, and they wouldn't take me, but they do have people working there that have maybe a high school degree.
Right.
Were you proficient with the English language at that time?
I was pretty fluent at that time. If Austin could communicate with me, I feel like I could communicate with everybody. Yes, and I had to get through college, so I had to know some decent English. So I got turned down for that position. I was pretty heartbroken, and I was just on our back porch one night with some friends that came over to visit, and at that time we had one investment property. So Austin said, Victoria, just get your real estate license. You'll help us find our own deals before they even hit the market. Now, that was back in 2012, 2011, when I got my license in 2012. So we started talking about it, earlier on, and the foreclosures were just flooding the real estate market back then. And so his idea was that, hey, you'll help us find some good deals, we'll get more rental properties, and you'll be our property manager. So I was like, okay, a job position was just created for me.
Right.
Later on, the same friends that we were hanging out with at the time came back to visit, and, hey, Victoria, do you have a job? No, still no job, but I think I'm going to go get my real estate license. And she mentioned that, well, you're probably not going to pass the real estate test.
With a master's degree?
I guess so. Needless to say, 30 days later, I was licensed and bonded. And
passed it first try.
All right. Really?
I know.
Ready to sell some
Heard
real
that story
estate.
before.
And so I picked up pretty quickly and got so busy, didn't have time to help Austin find deals because I was helping clients. And so, yeah, but he was my first client. He was the one to buy the first house from me.
Yeah, got
Like
you
that.
started.
Yeah.
That's very appropriate.
Have you ever thought about where you'd be now or what you would have done if you haven't come over here to America?
I would have been in the banking world back home. Not too many opportunities, though. It would have been a very stagnant, same position, probably, same branch.
No, she
strolling
wouldn't have
along.
stayed.
I don't know. I have no
She
idea.
would've got bored.
That's a great question. I never thought of that. But because that has been my dream growing up as a kid and one of my goals, I would have achieved that.
You would have got there, and then you would have gone, okay.
Do people in Moldova see the United States as a land of opportunity, or
I believe
Is
people
that-
from all over the world see that.
okay? I got you.
It's neat
I
to hear
believe
that
so.
perspective because, we're born and raised here. And,
Yeah,
we
we
don't-
take it for granted.
do, yeah.
We really do, which is sad. But it's a totally different perspective, I'm sure. But how did you get the opportunity? How did you get the money, or maybe you were in a affluent family or whatever in Moldova? I don't know, but how did you make the decision and put it all together to come over here?
Right. So that was
With $100.
something else that I was not gonna take no for an answer. I was in college and I finished classes late one afternoon, so I was headed home. As I was going down the steps, leaving the college, I saw a bunch of little papers just all over the stairs. Looked like somebody dropped them and didn't bother to pick them up and throw them in the garbage. And so I thought, well, that's not nice. So I started to pick up those papers. Well, they were all a bunch of flyers. And so I threw away all but one. And as I was walking towards the bus station to catch a ride back to the dorms, I was reading, and the flyer said, "Do you want to go to United States?" And it was an exchange program for students. You just go for the summer. You have to sign up. The criteria is going to be you have to have 2 years of college and straight A's. Well, I had straight A's, but I was finishing up my first year of college. And so I did contact the agency and express interest, and they're like, "No, you don't qualify. You're not going to get the visa."
Right.
And I was like, "Well, how much does it cost to apply? I just want to try." And they said it's $100 US, which for us is about 1,200 of our monetary currency.
Wow.
And that was my parents' salary for a whole month.
Right.
In other countries, you get paid monthly, not biweekly. And so my parents would have had to work for 30 days to make that money and not pay bills or anything, because that was just about all
Right.
they were earning. And so we were able to find that $100 in U.S. currency so I can apply. And, I went back to class the next day, and I was telling some of my girlfriends, and they were like, "Well, you crazy, you don't need to do that, waste of money." And I said, "Well, I'm going to try anyways." So they usually put together groups of a couple of hundred students and per summer.
Okay.
Those are all the visas allowed to be issued for the summer. And I did go to the embassy for the interview. And long story short, I get out of there with a visa.
Wow.
And so as I was coming down the steps and all the others waiting for their interview time, I'm right there outside waiting, including the people from the agency, and I told them I got it. They were floored. Like nobody
Wow.
could believe it. And so just lucky.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
Yeah. Now, parents here now?
Both of my parents
Thought they
are
are,
here.
yeah.
They've been here since we started having babies. So
Yeah.
that's been a blessing. But
That's
they've been
good.
here for at least 12 years.
Yeah.
Everybody that knows Victoria knows Mama and Papa.
Mama and Papa, that's right.
You go back to Moldova?
Last time I visited was in 2017. The plan was to go back in 2019, but then COVID hit, and then the war hit. So I don't know, maybe next summer.
Yeah, friends and family back there?
Friends and family, but thankfully everybody's doing great.
Good, good. That's awesome.
Okay, so fast forward back up to your real estate career. You said, I'm going to get that license. You got it first try, and you jumped off into real estate. And what would you say that experience was doing it, at the very beginning? Did you just love it? What did you learn? And how is it different, today when you look back at when you first started?
Yeah, you knew so many people.
I did not know anybody.
Just to make connections, right?
No, I did not know anybody, which is why my husband felt like he needed to go ahead and buy a house, so I can feel like I'm
accomplished
doing something. That's right. My broker, Phil Lenders, at the time believed in me. He was my mentor. Taught me great things about real estate. Back to your question, did you like it? Did you love it? I didn't really. I was just so grateful that I had an opportunity to have a career. So it wasn't like, oh, do I like this? Should I explore something else? It was like, I got in, somebody sees potential in me, and I'll make it work.
Oh, I love that. You're like, I'm going to give it 100%. Because that is what she does. Yeah. So you started out at Keller Williams. You were there for how long?
5 years.
5 years, okay. And, you just hit the ground running. I remember, okay, so this is what I remember about you. When I first met you, she was the buyer's agent when I sold my house. That's how we met. And so we became Facebook friends. We met once and shook hands and, okay, so we became Facebook friends. Oh, my gosh, she was always ringing that bell. Keller Williams has this bell. Yeah. I think they still have it. That when you have a closing, you get to ring the bell. And so I would be scrolling my Facebook feed, and there's Victoria ringing the bell. And, it was like every day. I was like, good Lord, this girl is selling houses like hotcakes. So, you were successful right off the bat. What would you say?
I worked hard, and I put in so many hours. I remember I didn't have clients, didn't have a sphere of influence, no sellers, no buyers, and I was working those public open houses. I for the first 2 years of my career, I did open houses every Sunday except for probably Easter and Christmas week.
Wow. You were just taking any open house.
And that's how I built my initial book of business. Something else you might not know, but when I was at Keller Williams, I did set a record because they do have a capping system, and if you close 2.8 million, I think it was at the time, it will cap you, and then you go to 100% commission.
Right.
I was the first to cap in the short amount of time and in one transaction.
Oh, my gosh.
So as soon as my year rolled over, I think I had a closing like that very first week. And so I capped in a week. It took just one transaction.
Wow.
So I beat that record. I don't know if anybody beat that, but
if
not, go for it.
Kind of hard to beat.
You can do it.
That's kind of hard to beat
That's pretty impressive.
You can do it.
That's awesome. Wow.
So open houses, meeting people, following up on that. What would you say key to success? What kind of, helped you build your business after that?
After that, I think that the key to success in real estate is to do all things and don't doubt any. Because I hear people talk all the time that open houses don't work. Calling for sale by owners doesn't work. Calling expireds, well, everybody calls them. They probably don't want to hear from me. But I can tell you from listening to different real estate podcasts and following different producers, top producers from across the nation, most of them have a niche, and whether it's cold calling, ask agents in our market, and they would be, very quick to say cold calling doesn't work. Door knocking, well, I'm scared. Open houses, well, I like Sunday to spend at home because God made that day to relax. Well, not if you're in real estate. You know, Sundays for us is like Mondays for most people.
Right.
And so I just want to let everyone know that all those things work, and there is a proven track and many top producers across the nations that have built their empire
That's
by
right.
doing one of those things or
Yep.
multiple. But if they didn't work, they wouldn't exist.
That's right. That's right. And those are the things that you kind of jumped on. And
I have done the door knocking. I have worked the open houses. I called on FISBOs. I called on expires. I had trailed every path there was an opportunity to trail.
I love it. And she didn't come in with connections and relationship and family that helped her build her business, which a lot of real estate agents these days do. As soon as they get their license, they've got grandma or aunt who's giving them a listing or helping them out. And you didn't have that, so you really did have to start with those basics. And hey, obviously,
It worked.
it worked.
It worked.
Very obviously.
So,
That's awesome. Okay, so you get your broker's license.
I got my broker's license very early on in the career, probably year 1 or 2. I went ahead and got it because I knew that I'm going to advance to the next level and the next level and just keep climbing the ladder.
Did you tell that lady who said you wouldn't pass the test?
Just like that. And there has been a few others, you know, that had made comments during my career saying that, I wasn't ready yet to be a broker or didn't know enough or wasn't qualified enough. And thankfully I'm here and I'm doing great.
Yeah.
You know,
I think you proved them that you're ready.
I'm ready. And if you're not ready, you just have to get ready,
That's right.
you know.
That's right. I love it. Okay, so we're going to talk about something fun.
Okay.
I asked her beforehand. I was like, can we talk about this because it's fun? Okay, so again, when I first met you, you were the buyer's agent, and that's how we got to know each other. And we'd pass each other in church every so often, but we literally had never had a real conversation. And I randomly reached out to you. I had background in design. I had gone to school for design. I had done some design work, but I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, had retired from my church job, and felt like the Lord was leading me to something, but I thought it was crazy. And I just kept seeing this girl ring this bell. So I reached out to her, and I sent you a Facebook message. Do you remember this?
That's right. You didn't have my phone number.
I didn't have her phone number. I should have went and found a sign. But anyway, and I was like, I know this may sound crazy, but I just keep thinking about getting into staging. And obviously I don't have furniture, so maybe I could help people declutter their homes. Do you ever need help with that? And I mean, she probably responded within 10 minutes. And absolutely, I would love to talk to you. Come see me at my office. So I go visit her at her office, and we have a whole conversation. And she proceeds to tell me that she currently had, at the time,
Maybe three
sets of staging furniture already that she owned, and that she was currently moving around herself, her and her husband.
That's right.
And she was getting very busy and said, girl, I can put you to work tomorrow. And she did.
That's right.
And she literally helped me start my staging career and put me to work. And if you didn't know this, Victoria is actually a very good stager. She does like to stage her own houses when she can, when she's not too busy.
I'm a great amateur stager, but here's the professional.
When she is too busy, she'll let me do it for her. But we were just laughing the other day. How many couches do you have now?
I am the proud owner of 12 couches
12
that get moved around from
couches.
house to house.
12 couches.
Wow.
And really though, when we were when she was at her previous brokerage, there was a lot of agents there who were seeing what we were doing. She was letting me move her furniture from house to house and set up and stage it for, and those houses were selling so well. And so agents started coming to me and going, I want to get my own furniture.
That's right.
And so it kind of started a unique staging business for me. I started designing staging sets for people, and helping other agents get their own staging sets, and I've probably done, at least 10 to 12 sets of furniture, maybe more, haven't counted recently, for people, and some of those agents have multiple sets, but that kind of started with you, and you setting that path, and showing that to me, and then, showing that to others, so I think that's amazing, but talk just a minute about, because I know you are one of the agents that I work with that really goes above and beyond. I mean, they are going to, you know, change the light bulbs. They're going to stage the house if it needs it. They're going to change the curtains out if it needs it. I mean, you just don't do the bare minimum. How important is that?
It is very important because I think that as a professional, you do have to provide professional services and you have to be next level, or otherwise nothing sets you apart and you're just going to be right there with everyone else. Well, in our industry, we know we have a 95% failure rate in the first 2 years.
Wow.
And then actually I just got back from a conference in Dallas last week. 87% of real estate agents did not have a transaction in 2023 when the rates went up and people, got weary. And this is statistics that comes from the NAR's website that they shared at the convention. And so it is a very tough breakthrough in our industry to be able to make a name and establish a great career path. And so you can't do that just by doing the bare minimum or just by doing what everybody else is doing. You have to go above and beyond and see what is it that you can elevate and do better for your client.
Yep. I love that.
And so, yes, I mean, we just
That holds true for any industry, any
last
business.
week in La Lorraine, it was listed with another agent for several months. They called me. We got it in contract in less than a week. But it took me 2 weeks to get it ready. It took Gingerland to get it staged, my dad to pressure wash the front patio and back patio, my mom to empty the drawers and clean everything, me to do some more furniture shopping because I did need that 12 couch.
You changed out some light fixtures.
We changed out light fixtures, did some painting. It took 2 weeks of work to get the house ready. We listed it at the same price as it was before. I charged the same commission as the agent before. Less than a week, full price offer, the house is sold.
Wow. And it had sat on the market, right?
It had sat on the market
That's
for
right.
months. And so I feel like I did those people justice.
That's right.
They hired a professional. They needed to get the drone photography. They needed to get the professional pictures. They needed to get the professional staging. Just whatever it took to present that house in the best conditions it could show.
And it worked.
And it worked.
Sold in a week.
There you go.
So
That's
exciting.
Right. That's right. That's right. Hey, you mentioned going to the NAR conference. Any of the changes coming down by NAR bugging you out? Having any problems or issues with all that?
Not at all. I believe the changes are for the better. I think it's going to set a higher standard for our industry. They are changes to a degree, but overall, nothing really new. We should have been getting all the agreements signed to begin with.
Right.
They were just not mandatory.
Right.
The only change now is that the buyer agency agreement is mandatory. And I love that because we can have that conversation with the prospective buyers up front.
Right.
And, hey, I would love to help you. I am committed to helping you if you are committed to working with me. And it is so much better to have that conversation up front and know where we stand rather than just imply that we have a working relationship, take you around and show you every house in the Tri-County area to then find out you bought with a cousin that was at the beach on the weekend when I worked with you and showed you 30 houses. And so to me, that is more disappointing than if you don't want to sign now. That is perfectly fine.
That's right. It's really protecting you.
Absolutely. Love the change to answer your question.
Okay,
How about
good.
that?
Yeah, I'm sure there's people on both sides, probably the 87% that didn't sell a house last year are probably complaining about all the changes.
Those are the ones that are complaining.
That's right.
Those that do sell houses
Right.
love it, are amped up about it, and excited. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good way to look at
Because
it.
if you're not a strong enough agent to show your value to those clients for them to want to work with you and sign, if you prove your value, they don't have an issue signing.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it sets those up for even better success.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. We just heard something similar to that, that if your agent's not willing to ask, then how are they going to fight for you and your house and your house's worth if they're not willing to fight for their own worth? So I think that's such good advice.
It's all about the confidence, the level of confidence.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Anything in the future for you guys that you want to talk about, or I'm not asking for any deep secrets or anything like
She's
that
like, "Ooh."
that you want to divulge, but children, you have. I mean,
We can't have more children,
well,
that's for sure.
no,
so
I
that's
don't-
not
don't have
I don't mean to
children.
go there, but with that, but you have 2 children.
We have 2 children, 5th grader, Alex, and Ariana is in 8th grade. And so, in the future is just maintaining the brokerage at a successful level, helping the agents within the brokerage maintain
Grow.
a successful level and grow, just being great parents at home and good brokers on the field.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the plan. Nothing really extraordinary that we have in the works, but if anything comes up, we'll just have to surprise you.
That's
Well,
right.
yeah.
That's right. We'll have to have
Well,
another podcast.
Yeah, I was gonna say you first heard it here.
That's right. You'll hear it here.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, well, look, it's been great having you here and hearing what's on your heart, and I love your story. I remember parts of it from 5 years ago, but my memory isn't what it used to be, and but it's been great to working with you. Thank you for supporting us as well. And I really appreciate you guys coming to the events and everything that you do to support us. It means a lot to us. So
Absolutely. Thank you, and thank you for featuring me, and thank you for what you've done for me too, because both of you have helped me in a way.
okay, awesome. Well, Gingerlyn,
Yes.
tell everyone where to see our podcast.
Okay, we do not want you to miss out. We have such great content coming out and more to come. So please make sure you subscribe. Go to our YouTube channel. All you have to do is pull up YouTube and search Central Mississippi Real Producers. You can do Central MS Real Producers. It'll pull right up. Same thing on Facebook and Instagram, and we post all of our links for everything we do there, so you can click on it and it'll take you to the podcast and the different things that we're doing. We have some exciting stuff, new podcasts, WLBT features, just some new things coming out that you're not going to want to miss. And obviously our events and all that, the latest news, whatever's coming up, that's where you find it. So make sure you go and you follow, like, all the things so that you don't miss anything.
Yeah, and I will add to that something is new coming up, and soon and very soon we're going to have a website where everything that we're doing
right.
is right there on our website. So you don't have to go to Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Issue and all to see everything that we do. Everything is going to be
In one place.
in one place on our website. So that's going to be, I'm excited about that. That's going to be coming up in a few weeks, hopefully. So,
That's right.
yeah, we're working on that now. So.
All right.
Okay, well, again, thanks again to KP, Party Photography, and the guys for doing this for us today. We've really enjoyed it. And until next time.
Until next time.
It's a wrap.